Hey everybody, Todd Michael Putnam from Creative Adventure Tables bringing you another adventure table idea. And today what we're going to talk about is basically ways to run a travel session. Okay, ways to run a travel session. Because a lot of people think, well, I've only got a limited amount of table and they're going to be traveling for hours, so there's literally, either I'm rebuilding the table all the time, or it just doesn't, just doesn't work. Well, it's actually really easy to run travel sessions because travel sessions outside basically are going to end up using a lot of scatter terrain, as you can see, like I did here. The trees, you're not using tile sets, which all lock together, so to speak, or anything like that. Travel terrain is literally, I'm throwing some trees out, I'm throwing some bushes out, I'm throwing some rocks out, maybe a pond, whatever it is. And all this stuff is just quickly rearrangeable on the fly. But you don't have to do a whole lot of rearranging. And this is the trick that I use. I build it so that to the human eye, it looks all contiguous, meaning it's all one, section of travel, so to speak. So when you're looking at it, oh, okay, that all makes sense. But I tell my players it's not all contiguous. For example, if they start over in this section here and they're traveling along, they might have some kind of adventure literally in this section right here. I kind of block it off with my hands and I go, okay, you guys are in this section right here and there's forest on all of the sides around you, and you can see off to the side of the road, right, there's some kind of a cart that's been, a broken cart, and it's still got a bunch of barrels and boxes and stuff in there and some cloth on it or whatever, and it's up to them if they want to investigate it or not. But there could be a note in there for, at least there could be some treasure in there. There could be a mimic that's hiding in there. There could be anything, right? All kinds of stuff that could be going on. It could be freaking spiders or, little centipedes, anything like that that could actually be in there. Any kind of an encounter, it doesn't really matter what it is. It certainly doesn't have to be a cart, but the point being that this little section is itself all they're focused on in the map, and the rest of it you just say, oh, it's all going to be forest and stuff in this area. And then maybe a few hours later they come to another section of the road and you don't have it there, but you can then just put it down and go, oh, there's a little hermit's hut, right, that's in this section of it, and they can have their own adventure right there. Again, it's just an encounter area. Yes, it's all physically contiguous, but this encounter and then this one here might be a couple of hours apart in game time, in the world that you're playing in, even though it's only a few minutes apart in the actual play time. As you're running it, they do whatever this encounter is, and then you say, okay, you resolve that issue, and then you travel for a few more hours, and then off on the side of the road you see a small thatched hut of a stone building, and it looks like something where maybe a hermit or a hedge wizard or something might live. What do you want to do? There is smoke coming from out of it. Do you want to go talk to them? Do you want to just bypass? Whatever they want to do, it's fine. And of course, you can always place anything else there at any other time that you want, any other thing that's interesting, right? Doesn't really matter. But bam, there's your second encounter. And then you might bring them around and say, okay, a few more hours later, and you come to a hilly section where there's hills on either side, and the pathway kind of cuts through it. And of course, that could be a bandit ambush. There could be creatures like hippogriffs or whatever it is that make their nests up high, giant eagles or whatever that might be looking for prey, anything of that nature. But again, just the point being that even though it's physically contiguous and looks great to the eye, or hopefully it looks great to the eye, it doesn't have to be played out that way. And then of course you could have, when you climb up to the top of these things, you see another area that's back behind it, and they can have more adventures in there, right? And then a few hours later, when they come, it's a long hilly section. When they finally come to the end of the hilly section, there's like an opening, and in that opening, you see that there's a pond there, and there could be somebody there saying that they lost something, but they're in the pond, but maybe there's a nymph or some other creature that's in the pond that doesn't want to give it back. Whatever adventure you want to make, it doesn't really matter. The point is that this is all stuff that doesn't have to be on the table if you don't want it to be. You can leave it here, and then when the players get to that spot, bam, you can just put it down very quickly. Or you could leave most of it up the entire time and just, oh, you don't see that yet, you're not there yet, you're in this section of the town. And that way it gives them something interesting to look at and to be curious about, oh, what's going on in the future? What else have they got planned? Either way, you can run it. But the point is, you can build out 95% of the table or even 100% of the table, and just the way that you run the game experience prevents you from having to rearrange everything or rebuild everything constantly. Instead, the game keeps flowing smoothly. You just use your DM descriptive skills in order to say, okay, you've now traveled for another hour or 45 minutes or half a day, whatever. And now you've come to this other new location, and then you run the next event there, whatever that might be. So that's it. Running wilderness adventures on a table is really easy and very immersive, and the constraints of the physical table itself really aren't a constraint. If you do it, this is one way to do it. I shouldn't say it's certainly not the only way to do it, but I've found over the years that by running my tables this way, I can run outdoor adventures for 6, 7, 8 hours and barely have to do anything as far as changing stuff that's on the table. Maybe swap out one or two things and keep everybody entertained and embroiled in the story, and there's no loss of time whatsoever on swapping everything out. So that's it. This isn't an actual specific adventure. I just want to talk about ways that I run outdoor wilderness travel adventures where you obviously have a limited amount of table space, and yet you can have an unlimited amount of travel basically in a session without having to rearrange everything. So hope that helps. Please let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next adventure. Take care. Bye.